हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम
ಸರ್ವತ್ರ
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು. Prostrating at the lotus feet of Sadguru Brahmanishta Shrotriya Sri Swami Virajeshwara Saraswati on behalf of all of us, today's discourse on the commentary of the Viveka Chudamani Prakarana Grantha will commence with the Mangalacharana shlokas. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Maha Saraswatyai Namaha. Sadashivasamarambham Sri Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Shruti Smruti Puranam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satgurum Pranatosmiham. Om Namo Bhagavate Virajeshwaraya. Harihi Om. Last time, the shloka or the verse number 120 of the Viveka Chudamani commentary was stopped. So today, from the verse number 121 onwards, the discourse will commence by the grace of Sadguru. 121ನೇ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಿಂದ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಈ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರ ವಿವೇಕ ಚೂಡಾಮಣಿಯ ಶ್ಲೋಕದ ವಿವರಣೆಯೊಂದಿಗೆ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಹೋದ ಸಲ ಎಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬಂದು ನಿಂತಿತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಕಾರಣ ಶರೀರದ ವ್ಯಾಖ್ಯಾನವನ್ನು ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಕಾರಣ ಶರೀರ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಮೂಲವಾದ ಅನಾದಿಯಾದ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ನೂರಾರು ಸಾವಿರಾರು ಜನ್ಮಗಳಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಬಂದಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ, ಆ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ ಮಾಯೆಯ ಪ್ರಭಾವದಿಂದ ಬಂದಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ, ಆ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ ಅಥವಾ ಅದು ಅವಿದ್ಯಾ, ಆ ಅವಿದ್ಯಾ ಅಥವಾ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ ಭ್ರಾಂತಿಯಿಂದ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನಾವು ದೇಹ ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಾವ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದೇಹ, ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಶರೀರ, ಇದು ಮೂಲ ಅವಿದ್ಯಾ, ಇದು ಮಾಯೆಯ ಕಾರ್ಯ, ಇದೇ ಕಾರಣ ಶರೀರ ಅಂತ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ತಿಳಿಸಿದರು. ಸೊ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ Acharya gave the definition ultimately for the causal body, which was discussed in the last discourse last week. So the causal body is the main cause for the primordial ignorance which is there in our anthakarana from the birth to the death. What is that primordial ignorance we have? That is due to superimposition, adhyasa, adhyaropa. What is that adhyasa or adhyaropa? I am thinking that I am the body itself. I am this body itself. The body means it goes along with the mind and ego. So I am this body-mind complex. So that is the primordial ignorance, and that is the causal body. That is Karana Sharira. And this Karana Sharira is actually, it is very prominent. It is felt in the deep sleep state. So it was stopped there last. Sushuptiretasya vibhaktavastha pralina sarvendriya buddhi vrittihi. Now we are commencing from the shloka 121 onwards today. Sarva prakara pramiti prashanti bijatmana avasthitirev buddhe sushuptiretasya kila pratitihi kinchinna vedmiti jagat prasiddhe. Sarva prakara pramiti prashanti bijatmana avasthitirev buddhe Sushuptiretasya kila pratitihi ಕಿಂಚಿನ್ನ ವೇದ್ಮೀತಿ ಜಗತ್ ಪ್ರಸಿದ್ಧೇ. ಕಿಂಚಿತ್ ನ ವೇದ್ಮ ಇತಿ. ಕೀ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ವರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಶ್ಲೋಕ. ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ? ಕಿಂಚಿತ್ ನ ವೇದ್ಮಿ ಇತಿ. ಇದು ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ ಘಟ್ಟ ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಪದಪುಂಜಗಳು. ಈ ಗಾಢನಿದ್ದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಗಾಢನಿದ್ದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದಾಗ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿಧವಾದ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನ ಆಲೋಚನೆಗಳು, ಪ್ರವೃತ್ತಿಗಳು, ಈ ಬುದ್ಧಿಶಕ್ತಿ, ಪ್ರಜ್ಞಾಶಕ್ತಿ, ಬುದ್ಧಿವಂತಿಕೆ, ವಿವೇಚನಾ ಶಕ್ತಿ, ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಲೈವ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಮುಚ್ಚೋಗಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸುಷುಪ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ಹೆಸರು. ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಬೀಜ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ ತಾವಾಗಿ ಅಡಗಿ ಹೋಗಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಸೇರ್ಕೊಂಡಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ? ಆತ್ಮನಲ್ಲಿ. ಇದು ಸುಷುಪ್ತಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗಾಢನಿದ್ದ ಅವಸ್ಥೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಯೋಚನೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಮನಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಮನಸ್ಸಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ಷೇತ್ರವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಬುದ್ಧಿಮತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಏನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ನಿಂತು ಹೋಗಿದೆ. ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿದೆ? ಒಳಗಡೆ ಹೊರಟೋಗಿದೆ, ಒಳಗಡೆ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೆ, ಲೈವ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗಿದೆ, ಕರೆಗೆ ಹೋಗಿದೆ. ಹೀಗೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಅದನ್ನೇ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸರ್ವ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಪ್ರಮೇತಿ ಪ್ರಶಾಂತಿ ಬೀಜಾತ್ಮನ ಅವಸ್ಥಿತಿರೇವ ಬುದ್ಧಿ. ಬುದ್ಧಿ, ಮನಸ್ಸು, ವಿವೇಚನಾ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಹೊರಟೋಗಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಗಾಢನಿದ್ದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಸುಷುಪ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ಹೆಸರು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ ತುಂಬಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಯಾಕೆ? ಕಿಂಚಿತ್ ನ ವೇದ್ಮೇತಿ ಜಗತ್ ಪ್ರಸಿದ್ಧಿ. ನಿದ್ದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಎಚ್ಚರ ಆದ ನಂತರ ನಾವೇನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ? ಸುಖವಾಗಿ ನಿದ್ದೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗ ನಿದ್ದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ? ನಮ್ಗೇನು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಸುಖವಾಗಿ ನಿದ್ದೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಅನುಭವ ಎಚ್ಚರ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಆ ಸುಖ ನಿದ್ದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಅಜ್ಞಾನ. ಅದು ಅಜ್ಞಾನ. ಈ ಕಾರಣ ಶರೀರದ ಮೂಲ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಗಾಢ ನಿದ್ದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಆತ್ಮನಲ್ಲಿ ಕರಗೋಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಎಚ್ಚರಾದ ಕೂಡಲೇ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಯಥಾಸ್ಥಿತಿ, ದೇಹಭಾವ, ಶರೀರ ಭಾವ ಮತ್ತೆ ಉತ್ಪತ್ತಿ ಆಯಿತು. ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇವನು, ನಾನು ಮಲಗಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ಈಗ ಎಚ್ಚರ ಆಯಿತು, ಹೀಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ. ಸೊ ದ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಇಸ್ ನೌ explaining about the nature of the deep sleep and what is happening in the deep sleep. So in the deep sleep, sushupti as it is called, deep sleep is called in Sanskritam sushupti, dreamless, deep sleep. So the body and the mind complex, your ego, your antakarana, your mental attitude, your mind, your thinking capacity, discrimination capacity, whatever, what not you call, your intelligence, your intellect, mind, everything, what happens? That awareness is totally gone. It is merged, dissolved. It is not there. Everything becomes still. There is no perception. There is no sharira abhimana. In the deep sleep, we never experience or we are aware that we are sleeping. Sound sleep we are enjoying. We are enjoying dreamless sleep. So that awareness is not there. You are not there at all. Your status is not there. Anything you consider, it is not there. There are no worries. There is nothing like happiness. There is no pleasure, no crisis, nothing of that sort. No attachment, no detachment. There is no jnana. There is no ajnana. There is no light. There is no darkness. You think of any opposite adjectives of any particular issue. Everything is lost. Yellow, everything is gone. That means our awareness is not there. So what happens in deep sleep? Kinchinna vedmi iti jagat prasiddhe. Kinchit na vedmi iti. I did not know what was happening in the deep sleep. I slept so beautifully. I was not aware of anything. I was not aware of myself. I was not aware of my identity. Everything totally gone. This is how we speak. Kinchit na vedmi. In deep sleep, nothing was known. No awareness. So when do we say this? Only after we wake up. The moment we wake up, the Maya will act in such a way that our Sharirabhimana sets in. Then I will say, oh, so much so I had a wonderful sleep. So now I'm getting up. So the body consciousness is coming back, awareness is coming back, the mental faculties are coming back, intellectual faculties are coming back. So I once again think I am the body, I am this mind, I am the body complex. Now I am on the bed, just now I am getting up. Just now I finished my deep sleep. All these things, the awareness comes only after you wake up. ಎಚ್ಚರ ಆದ ನಂತರ ನಾವು ಹೇಳೋದು ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದುವರೆಗೂ ಬಹಳ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನಿದ್ದೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ, ನಮಗೆ ನಿದ್ದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಒಂಥರ ಸುಖ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಜಾಯಸ್, something. How can we explain what was happening in deep sleep? There is no identity. In fact, at the higher level Vedanta, Mahatmans take this example of deep sleep. They say that this deep sleep is akin to, similar to the samadhi, the state of the mental condition in the samadhi, the state of the mental attitude in the samadhi state. So the samadhi state which happens in the waking state when you sit on a meditation, and by the grace of Guru, by the grace of Lord, ultimately the constant meditative practice will take you to the samadhi state. There, how to explain that? Nobody can explain. So Mahatmans say the deep sleep is similar to the samadhi state. You can compare like that. The only difference, this deep sleep state is full of tamas, ajnana, avidya, because it is a temporary. Every day we undergo sleep and then we get up. So we forget there ourselves. We forget our identity in deep sleep, but again you will get up from deep sleep. And again you are covered by the Maya, Avarana and Vikshepa, automatically, and then the body consciousness will rise. So this ignorance is in the seed form in the deep sleep. That's what Bijatmana avasthitireva buddhe. So Acharya next takes up same thing in little detail. Dehendriya prana mano ahamadayah sarve vikara vishaya sukhadayah vyomadi bhutanyakilam cha vishvam avyakta paryantam idam yanatma. Dehendriya prana mano ahamadayah sarve vikara vishaya sukhadayah vyomadi bhutanyakilam cha vishvam avyakta paryantam idam hyanatma. Avyaktam paryantam idam hi anatma. The last charana or the line of the shloka. Avyaktam paryantam idam hi anatma. Idam avyakta paryantam hi anatma. ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊನೆ ಚರಣ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ. ಇದುವರೆಗೂ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ಶಿಷ್ಯ, ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ವತ್ಸ, ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ತಮ್ಮ ಶಿಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಮಾತು. ಇದುವರೆಗೂ ನಾನು ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇನಲ್ಲ, ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಯ ಆರಂಭದ ಸಮಯದಿಂದ ಆ ಅವ್ಯಕ್ತ ಅನ್ನೋ ಶಬ್ದ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಆಗಿ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಚರಾಚರ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾಂಡ ಅಖಿಲಾಂಡ ಎಲ್ಲ ಉತ್ಪತ್ತಿ ಆದ ನಂತರ ಈಗ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಈ ವಿಶ್ವ, ಈ ಪ್ರಪಂಚ, ಈ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ, ಈ ಚರಾಚರ ವಸ್ತುಗಳು, ಇವೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನ ಅನಾತ್ಮ ಅಂತ ತಿಳಿಯಪ್ಪ, ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನ ಅನಾತ್ಮ ಅಂತ ನೀನು ಗುರುತಿಸ್ಕೋ ಅಂತ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾವುದೋ ಈ ದೇಹಗಳು, ಈ ಶರೀರ, ಇಂದ್ರಿಯ, ಈ ಮನಸ್ಸು, ಈ ಅಹಂ ಅಹಂ ನಾನು 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 ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಾವ, ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿಕಾರಗಳು, ಈ ಸುಖ ದುಃಖದ ಅನುಭವಗಳು, ವಿಷಯದ ಸುಖದ ಹಿಂದೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮನಸ್ಸು, ಈ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನ ನಕಾರಾತ್ಮಕ ಭಾವನೆಗಳು, ಸಕಾರಾತ್ಮಕ ಭಾವನೆಗಳು, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತಮೋಗುಣದ ಪ್ರಭಾವದಿಂದ, ರಜೋಗುಣದ ಪ್ರಭಾವದಿಂದ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮನೋವೃತ್ತಿಗಳು, ಈ ಆಕಾಶ, ಭೂಮಿ, ಜಲ, ವಾಯು, ಅಗ್ನಿ, ತೇಜ, ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಅನಾತ್ಮ, ನಿಜವಾದ ಆತ್ಮಸ್ವರೂಪ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಶಾಶ್ವತ ವಸ್ತುವಲ್ಲ, ಇವತ್ತಿದೆ ನಾಳೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಾವ. ಈಗ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಶ್ಲೋಕ ದಿ ಕೀ ವರ್ಡ್ ಈಸ್ ಅವ್ಯಕ್ತಂ ಪರ್ಯಂತಂ ಇದಂ ಹಿ ಅನಾತ್ಮ. ವ್ಯೋಮಾದಿ ಭೂತಾನಿ ಅಖಿಲಂ ಚ ವಿಶ್ವಂ ಅವ್ಯಕ್ತಂ ಪರ್ಯಂತಂ ಇದಂ ಹಿ ಅನಾತ್ಮ. This itself is anatma. He means assertive. This is. What is this? Is anatma? Acharya tells his disciple, the qualified disciple, Uttamadhikari. The Sadguru tells the Uttamadhikari Shishya that, look, my dear child, the whole thing is anatma. What is the whole thing? He says, Deha, Indriya, Prana, Manaha, Aham, Adayaha, etc. Adayaha, etc. What is that? The body, the sense organs, that is the sense perceptory organs, organs of sense, organs of action, karmendriya, jnanendriya, manas, the mind, prana, prana shakti, aham, the ego, I, the feeling of I-ness, I am. So that ego, etc. All these things. Sarve vikara vishaya sukhadaya. Along with that, all the mental effects and mental modifications, your mental attitudes, your mental behavior, your sense perception, and your feelings, the mental conditioning due to Rajoguna and Tamoguna and Sattva-guna, all the mental activities, Sarve Vikara Vishaya Sukhadaya, the attraction towards the sense objects, the pleasure and the joy, expecting the pleasure and joy all the time in the life, all such feelings. So the pleasure and the grief, the pain and suffering, everything included, including this Vyomadi Bhutanyakhilam cha Vishwam Avyakta Paryantam Idam Hi Anatma. Look, my dear child, Acharya is telling to his disciple, look around the entire Vishwa, the entire universe, the Brahmanda, the whole Prapancha, including this Akasha, the sky, the water, the Prithvi Tattva, Jala Tattva, water, this Tejas, Agni, the Vayu, the wind, anything you take, all these Panchamahabhutas, from Avyakta onwards, at the time of creation, from Avyakta, Avyakruta, that is Maya Shakti, Yoga Maya Shakti of Lord himself, everything has come into creation. So this whole thing is nothing but anatma, that is asat. Anatma means asat, please remember. Acharya is using the word anatma in the sense of asat. What is that? They are there visible, they are there perceivable, they are there sort of experiential world you can observe and see and feel. It is coming to your observation. You are experiencing the world, but it is anatma, he said, because it is unreal asat. Why? The definition of asat or anatma is, in Vedantic terms, that which is not permanent, that which is not eternal, that which always remains without change. See, that is real Atma Swarupa. The Parama Chaitanya, the Paramatma, or the Ishvara, or Parameshvara, or the God, as all these words we use, that cosmic consciousness. So that is eternal, no change. It remains as it is. It has no birth and death. Whereas other things which originate, anything which arises, anything which is created, it will be destroyed one day. So whatever has come into the origin during creation has to go back into Avyakta only. Whatever which has come back from unmanifest as a manifested the universe, it has to go back once again. Layakrama, Samharakrama. It again becomes unmanifest. So this is in that sense anatma, asat. Now why it is happening like this? Why he says it is all anatma? The next shloka Acharya clarifies. This is anatma. The whole thing is anatma. The whole thing is unreal, including your body, your mind, your ego, your attitudes, the entire Vishwa, the universe, the Jagat, the Prapancha, the whole world is Anatma. Because Maya Maya Karyam Sarvam Mahadadi Deha Paryantam Asadidam Anatmakam Tvam Vidhi Marumarichika Kalpam. He gives a reason now, Acharya, in the next sloka. Maya Maya Karyam Sarvam Mahadadi Deha Paryantam Asadidam Anatmakam Tam Vidhi Maru Marichika Kalpam. Maru Marichika Kalpam. This one example analogy is being taken here by the Acharya. This is Anatma, the whole thing, whatever has appeared, whatever has been created, from Mahat Tattva downwards up to the human body or to the animal body or to the individual Sthula Sharira, or the physical body, everything Anatma, because ಇದು ಯಾಕೆ ಅನಾತ್ಮ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ. ಮಾಯಾ ಮಾಯಾ ಕಾರ್ಯಂ ಸರ್ವಂ ಮಹದಾದಿ ದೇಹ ಪರ್ಯಂತಂ. ದಿಸ್ ಮಹದಾದಿ ದೇಹ ಪರ್ಯಂತಂ. See, look, my dear disciple, Acharya is saying, from at the time of creation, from the avyakta or unmanifest, what appeared? First, Mahat Tattva, the collective thought, the seed of the thought of creation. So that seed of the thought of the creation, invisible, is called Mahat Tattva. So the Mahat Tattva appeared means invisible, of course. During creation, first Mahat Tattva manifested, of course, not visible. Please remember, this Mahat Tattva gave rise to the Aham Tattva. From Aham Tattva to the 5 Tanmatras of the 5 basic elements, Panchamahabhutas. From there, the real Panchamahabhutas appeared, again invisible. The 5 Panchamahabhutas, 5 basic elements appeared. So from Mahat, Aham appeared in the samashti level, collective level. From Aham, the 5 Tanmatras of the 5 basic elements appeared. From this, the 5 basic elements appeared. All this is invisible. And from there, the creation actual started. As a Vyakta Prapancha later. As a visible universe, it started. So all this is due to Maya and its effects, or its the influence. Maya Maya Karyam Idam Sarvam. Asat Idam Anatmakam Tam Vidhi. Tvam Vidhi. Look, you must remember, my dear disciple. Everything, this is Asat. This is Anatma. This is due to Maya. It is the effect of the Maya. It is because of the Maya. Maya and Maya Karyam Idam. Tvam Vidhi. You remember this. ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ವತ್ಸ ಶಿಷ್ಯ, ನೀನು ಇದು ತಿಳಿದುಕೋ. ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಬಹಳ ಒತ್ತು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ತ್ವಂ ವಿದ್ಧಿ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ನೀನು ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಮನನ ಮಾಡು. ಮನನ ಮಾಡು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಥೈಸ್ಕೊ, ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ವಿವೇಚನೆ ಮಾಡು. ಇದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೇಳುವಂಥದ್ದಲ್ಲ, ಬಹಳ ಅರ್ಥಗರ್ಭಿತವಾದ ಮಾತು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಮನಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ಏಕಾಗ್ರತೆಯಿಂದ ನೀನು ಇದನ್ನು ತಿಳಿದುಕೊಂಡು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ತ್ವಂ ವಿದ್ಧಿ. ಏನ್ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಪ್ಪ ನೀನು ಶಿಷ್ಯ? ಈ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ, ಈ ಅನಾತ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು ಅಂತ ಏನಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಅಸತ್. ಅಸತ್ ಇದಂ ಅನಾತ್ಮಕಂ. ಇದು ನಿಜವಾದ ವಸ್ತು ಅಲ್ಲ, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಪದಾರ್ಥ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ಅಸತ್, ಇದು ಸತ್ಯವಲ್ಲ, ಅಸದ್ವಸ್ತು. ಇದು ಅನಾತ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು. ಇದು ಯಾಕೆ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಪ್ರಪಂಚ? ದೇಹ ಪರ್ಯಂತ ಮಹತ್ತತ್ವದಿಂದ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಮಾಯೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅದರ ಕಾರ್ಯದ ಪರಿಣಾಮದಿಂದ. ಈ ಅವ್ಯಾಕೃತವ ಮಾಯೆ ಏನಿದೆ, ಅವಿದ್ಯೆ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದರ ಪರಿಣಾಮದಿಂದ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಉಂಟಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಪ್ಪ. ಸೊ ಇದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಮಸ್ತ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಗೆ ಕಾರಣ ಈ ಮಾಯೆ ಅಂತ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ. ಈ ಅವಿದ್ಯಾ, ಅವ್ಯಾಕೃತ, ಇದು ಅವ್ಯಕ್ತ, ಇದು ಭಗವತ್ ಮಾಯೆ, ಯೋಗ ಮಾಯೆ, ವಿಷ್ಣು ಮಾಯೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೆಸರುಗಳು. ಮಾಯಾ ಶಬ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಮೊದಲು ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೆಸರುಗಳು. So the Acharya is saying, know that, my dear child, my dear disciple, all this is due to the Maya and its effect. Everything is asat, everything is anatma, everything what has appeared in creation is anatma. Everything has appeared because of the effect of the Maya. And what is the substratum for this? The substratum is Atma itself, Paramatma itself. That Brahma Padartha is itself is a substratum from which everything has come out. And he says, one example he gives in the last charana, Asat idam anatmakam tvam vidhi maru marichika kalpam. Maru marichika kalpam. This is the analogy he is taking. ಈ ಕೊನೆ ಚರಣ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಮರು ಮರೀಚಿಕಾ ಕಲ್ಪಂ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದು ನೋಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಗೆ ಸತ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಅನುಭವಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಪಂಚ. ಚರಾಚರ ವಸ್ತುಗಳು, ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳು, ಮನುಷ್ಯ, ಈ ದೇಹ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಾಣಿ ವರ್ಗ ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ. ಆಕಾಶ, ಭೂಮಿ, ವಾಯು ಅನುಭವಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ. ಜಲ, ನೀರು, ಕೊಳ, ಸಾಗರ, ನದಿ, ಪರ್ವತಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ಅನಾತ್ಮ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಅಂತ ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಸಂದೇಹ ಬರಬಾರದು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಒಂದು ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಏನು ಇದು, ಯಾಕೆ ಅನಾತ್ಮ, ಇದು ಯಾಕೆ ಅಸತ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಪ್ಪ, ಮರು ಮರೀಚಿಕಾ ಕಲ್ಪಂ. ಈ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಇದು, ನೀವು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಪ್ರಖರವಾದ ಬಿಸಿಲಿನಲ್ಲಿ ದೊಡ್ಡದಾದ ಮರುಭೂಮಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಈ ಅನುಭವ ಇಲ್ಲ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ. Those people who are living in the desert areas like Sahara Desert in the African region or Thar Desert area in our own country, India, in Rajasthan, bordering the Pakistan, the Gujarat and Rajasthan areas where the Thar Desert is there, so they have probably they experience this. So when you're walking in the desert, when you're thirsty, due to the excessive heat, what happens? Optical illusion. The physics is very clear in that. When you look at a distance, at the horizon, where the desert land meets the skyline, due to the severe heat waves emerging from the soil, from the desert particles, sand particles, what happens? Sometimes you find that there is a water body there long away in the horizon. You actually see the water body. That is optical illusion. As you go nearer, nearer, nearer to quench your thirst, it disappears. There is no water at all. There is only sand grains. So you call it as mirage, a common word. Those who have not gone to the desert, they will never understand what mirage is. ಬಿಸಿಲು ಕುದುರೆ, ಭ್ರಾಂತಿ. ಆಯಾಸಗೊಂಡು ಬಾಯಾರಿಕೆಯಿಂದ ನಾವು ಈ ಮರಳುಗಾಡಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಸುಡೋ ಬಿಸಿಲಲ್ಲಿ ದೂರದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಏನ್ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀರಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಏನೋ ನೀರಿನ ಕೊಳ ಇದೆ, ನೀರ್ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಹಸಿರು ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಭ್ರಾಂತಿ ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ. ಹತ್ರ ಹೋದಷ್ಟು ಅದು ನೀರಲ್ಲ, ಬರೀ ಮರಳು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇದು ಮರೀಚಿಕೆ, ಬಿಸಿಲು ಕುದುರೆ ಕನ್ನಡ ಶಬ್ದ. This mirage. So when you go near, you know that it is, oh, you are under delusion. Actually, there is no water. It only appeared, optical illusion. So this example. So the whole world appears real. It remains real till you are woken up, till you are awakened, till you are realized. Until then, it is real. That is a famous point in Vedanta. ಜ್ಞಾನೋತ್ಪತ್ತಿ ಆಗುವವರೆಗೆ ಜಗತ್ ಸತ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಪ್ರತೀತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಸತ್ಯ. ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಸತ್ಯವೇ. ಇದನ್ನ ವ್ಯವಹಾರಿಕ ಸತ್ಯ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವನು ಎಲ್ಸ್ವೇರ್ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಕಾಲ್ಸ್ ದಿಸ್ as this reality appears to be real as long as we are in the ajnana mode. Yes. As long as the realization has not occurred, everything appears to be real. There is no doubt. Acharya accepts this point. But in the paramarthic sense, in the Vedantic sense, in the highest spiritual sense, please note, he says, this is really unreal. This is really asat, because this is not permanent. What is permanent? Ekam eva advitiyam. That is only one. That is permanent. That is Brahma Padartha. That can't be named. For the convenience sake, Vedanta, Upanishads, they call this Vastu, this Padartha as Atma, Paramatma, Paramachaitanya, Parameshwara, Ishvara. All these words are used. This is the absolute, unmanifest. The absolute. It can't be explained. So that is the point. So after this, in the next shloka onwards, now the important point is there. From the 124th shloka onwards, Acharya now, for our sake, for people like us, total ajnanis, now he tries to explain what is Atma Swarupa. So far he explained what is Anatma. This gross body, Anatma. Subtle body, Anatma. Causal body, that is ignorance, ajnana, Anatma. The causal body, ignorance, because of Maya, that is also Anatma, because it will be destroyed automatically once the jnana sprouts in. Once there is awakening, once there is realization, automatically this causal body gets dissolved. So far he explained the three. Now, what is Atma then? What is Atma Swarupa? Though it cannot be explained. What cannot be explained? What cannot be really explained, Acharya taking pity on people like us who are real ajnanis. Who are real ajnanis, people like us. Now, Bhagavad Pada, Acharya takes compassionate pity on us. And to the whole world in this Viveka Chudamani, now he explains how best only a Paramatma Swarupa, Parabrahma Swarupa, Acharya Shankara Bhagavad Pada only can do it. Now, from now onwards, for the next few shlokas down, now Acharya is giving explanation on what is Atma Swarupa. We have to be very attentive to listen to this, which is very difficult to explain. And it is still very difficult to understand, difficult to listen, and difficult to assimilate. All this is possible only if our mind is pure, if we have total belief and conviction, if we have totally surrendered at the feet of the Lord or at the feet of the Sadguru. Only by the grace of the Sadguru or the Lord himself, these purport of the shlokas, the insights of these shlokas can be at least digested to some extent in our mind. So he starts about the Atma Swarupa, Atma Nirupa. What is this Atma? Athate sampravakshyami swarupam paramatmanaha yadvijñāya naro bandhan muktah kaivalyamashnute. Athate sampravakshyami swarupam paramatmanaha yadvijñāya naro bandhan muktah kaivalyamashnute. Athate sampravakshyami. ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ವತ್ಸ, ಈಗ ನಾನು ನಿನಗೆ ಆತ್ಮ ಸ್ವರೂಪ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು, ಆತ್ಮನ ಸ್ವರೂಪ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು, ಆತ್ಮನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಹೇಳಬಹುದು, ಆತ್ಮ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ವಸ್ತುತಃ ಆ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು ಏನು, ಪರಮಾರ್ಥಿಕವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ, ಕೇಳು, ಸಾವಧಾನವಾಗಿ ಕೇಳು, ಏಕಾಗ್ರತೆಯಿಂದ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಇದು ಮನನ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಯೋಗ್ಯವಾದ ವಿಚಾರ. ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ಸಮಾಧಾನ ಚಿತ್ತದಿಂದ ಏಕಾಗ್ರತೆಯಿಂದ ಕೇಳಪ್ಪ, ಆತ್ಮ ಸ್ವರೂಪದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಿನಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಇದನ್ನ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಯದ್ವಿಜ್ಞಾಯನರೋ ಬಂಧಾನ್ ಮುಕ್ತಃ ಕೈವಲ್ಯಮಶ್ನುತೆ. ಬಹಳ ಸುಂದರವಾಗಿ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಚರಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದು ನಿನಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆದ್ರೆ ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ಶಿಷ್ಯ, ಇದು ನೀನು ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಗ್ರಹಿಸಿದರೆ, ಏಕಾಗ್ರತೆಯಿಂದ ಮನನ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ, ವಿಶ್ಲೇಷಣೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತರ್ಗತ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಬಂಧನದಿಂದ ನೀನು ಮುಕ್ತನಾಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀಯ. ಕೈವಲ್ಯಂ ಅಶ್ನುತೆ, ನಿನಗೆ ಮೋಕ್ಷ ಪ್ರಾಪ್ತಿ ಸ್ವತಃ ಸಿದ್ಧ. ಸಂಸಾರ ಬಂಧನ ಹೊರಟೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಿನಗೆ ಮೋಕ್ಷ ಪ್ರಾಪ್ತಿಯಾಗೋದು ಸ್ವತಃ ಸಿದ್ಧವಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಕೈವಲ್ಯಂ ಅಶ್ನುತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ರು ಆಚಾರ್ಯ. Now Acharya is giving the assurance to the disciple. Now I tell you, my dear Shishya, the disciple, look, listen attentively, listen carefully with a total concentration, with a total concentration, with a total conviction and devotion. Listen what I am talking. Atate sampravakshami swarupam paramatmana. I am going to explain to you the real Paramatma Swarupa itself. What is that Paramatma? What is that Parameshwara? What is that Ishvara? What is that God? What is that Atma? What is that Brahma Padartha? What is that Parabrahma? All these words are used in Vedanta. Now I am going to talk on that. I am going to talk on, in other words, reality. So far, everything is unreal, I said. Whole creation, starting from basic 5 elements which appeared, and then up to the body. Everything is unreal, right? Now I tell you what is real. So far I explained about Asat. Now I am going to tell you something about what is really Sat. What is its Swarupa Lakshana? What actually it is, I am going to tell you. After knowing this, Acharya says, if you listen and internalize these teachings, if you understand what I am talking correctly, Yadvijnaya naro bandhan muktah kaivalyam ashnute. The person will be totally liberated from this bondage of birth and death cycle. Kaivalyam ashnute. You will be totally liberated. You will attain mukti. You will attain moksha. You will never come back. You will never come back to this samsara, this cycle of birth and death. You remain as a Brahma Padartha. You are actually Brahma Padartha, but you have superimposed your own body and mind as I am this. So when the superimposition is gone, when Adhyasa is gone, you remain what you are in the true sense. So once you remain as Brahma Padartha or Paramatma Swarupa, you yourself is Paramatma Swarupa. You yourself is Atma Swarupa. Then that is called liberation. That is called realization. You will be realizing your true nature. Once you know the reality, you are reality. You are that only. You establish permanently in that. The body which is there now due to Prarabdha, it will finish its age and it will die. There ends the matter for this so-called gross body or the physical body or the subtle body. It gets disbanded, but you remain as you are. So that is how he starts. Asti kaschit swayam nityam aham pratyaya lambana avasthatraya sakshisan panchakosha vilakshana. Now he starts explaining Atma Swarupa. Asti kaschit swayam nityam aham pratyaya lambana avasthatraya sakshisan panchakosha vilakshana. So in the form of that which cannot be explained by the mind or by the intellect, that which cannot be seen by the eyes, how to explain that is taking an indirect course. Acharya is trying to solidify the points indirectly about Atma Swarupa. What is this Atma Swarupa? Asti kaschit swayam nityam. There is something, swayam nityam asti. ನೋಡಪ್ಪ, ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ವಸ್ತು ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಶಾಶ್ವತವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಸ್ತು. ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ನಿತ್ಯವೂ ಶಾಶ್ವತವಾಗಿ ಶುದ್ಧವಾಗಿ ನಿತ್ಯವೂ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಮುಕ್ತವಾಗಿ ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ವಸ್ತು ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಶುದ್ಧ ಬುದ್ಧ ನಿತ್ಯ ಮುಕ್ತ ವಸ್ತು. ಅದು ಅಹಂ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಯ ಲಂಬನ. ಈ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ತಿಳಿದಾಗನಿಂದ, ಜನ್ಮ ಬಂದಾಗನಿಂದ ಸಾಯೋವರೆಗೆ ನಾವು ನಾನು 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 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೇವಲ್ಲ. ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಾವ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಆ ನಾನು ನಾನು ಈ ದೇಹಾಭಿಮಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಆಶ್ರಯನಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಸ್ತು. ಈ ನಾನು ಅನ್ನೋ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಯಕ್ಕೆ ಕೂಟಸ್ಥನಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಸ್ತು, ಆಧಾರವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಸ್ತು ಒಂದು ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ. ಈ ನಾನು ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಾವ ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಹುಟ್ಟುತ್ತೆ? ಒಂದು ಮೂಲ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಹೃದಯದಲ್ಲಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಹದ ಒಳಗಡೆ. ಆ ಮೂಲ ಅದು ಅವಸ್ಥಾತ್ರಯ ಸಾಕ್ಷಿ ಸನ್. ಈ ಮೂರು ಅವಸ್ಥೆಗಳು ಸಾಕ್ಷಿಯಾಗಿದೆಯಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ. ಅದು ಯಾವುದು ಮೂರು ಅವಸ್ಥೆಗಳು? ಜಾಗೃತಾವಸ್ಥೆ, ನಿದ್ರಾವಸ್ಥೆ ಮತ್ತು ಸ್ವಪ್ನಾವಸ್ಥೆ. ನಾವು ಕನಸು ಕಾಣೋ ಟೈಮ್ನಲ್ಲೂ ಆ ಮೂಲ ವಸ್ತು ಇದೆ. ನಾವು ಸುಖ ನಿದ್ದೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಗಲೂ ಆ ಮೂಲ ವಸ್ತು ಇದೆ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ. ನಾವು ಎಚ್ಚೆತ್ತಾಗ ನಾವೇನು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ, ಓಡಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ, ಮಾತನಾಡ್ತಾ, ಆವಾಗಲೂ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇದೆ. ಈ ಮೂರು ಅವಸ್ಥೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಾಕ್ಷಿಯಾಗಿ ಉಳಿದಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಆ ವಸ್ತು, ಅದ್ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ವಸ್ತು ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಪದಾರ್ಥ, ಅದು ಪಂಚಕೋಶ ವಿಲಕ್ಷಣ. ಈ 5 ಕೋಶಗಳಿಗೆ ಅತೀತವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾವು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ಸ್ ಅಸ್ತಿ ಕಶ್ಚಿತ್ ಸ್ವಯಂ ನಿತ್ಯಂ. ಸ್ವಯಂ ನಿತ್ಯಂ ಅಸ್ತಿ ಕಶ್ಚಿತ್. ನಾವು ಹಿ ಸೇಸ್ ಕಶ್ಚಿತ್. ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್. There is something which cannot be explained by words. It cannot be encompassed by word because it is beyond that. It is beyond explanation, beyond speech, beyond the intellect, beyond our mental faculty. So he says, Asti Kaschit. Swayam Nityam. Keywords. Swayam Nityam. There is something what we call as Atma, Paramatma, God, Brahma Padartha, Parabrahma Vastu, all these words. There is something which is Swayam Nityam, is all the time permanent, eternally present without change. It is always independent. It is beyond everything, beyond mind, beyond intellect. Okay, it is independent. Nitya Buddha Shuddha Mukta. That is Atma Swarupa definition. Vedanta says. Atma Swarupa, Atma, Paramatma, super consciousness, this cosmic consciousness, whatever words we use, this Atma, this Paramatma Swarupa is Nitya Buddha Shuddha Mukta. Nitya, always present, eternal, no change. There is no birth and death. Buddha, it is always Sat. It is always aware. Awareness is there. Prajna. It is full of awareness. Sat means Prajna. Chit, knowledge, the highest knowledge. Sarvajnatva, Chit. Nitya Shuddha Buddha. Buddha means Chit. Nitya Buddha Shuddha Mukta. Eternally independent. It doesn't depend on anything, but everything depends on its presence. Only by its presence, the whole creation runs. The whole creation has come from its presence only, and the whole creation will go back to its original source, Avyakta seed form only. And that Avyakta is controlled by this only, this Kaschit, this Vastu, this Brahma Padartha. So Acharya says, Asti Kaschit word he is using. There is something Kaschit means, which cannot be explained. So for the Atma Padartha, he is using word Kaschit. Nitya Aham Pratyalambana. So this is responsible, this existing something is responsible for your ego-ness, appearance of your ego. Aham, I am, I am, I am. So that feeling of I amness, ego, aham. So this is responsible for that. This falls on the substratum, kutastha, for this ego. Without this Atma Padartha, the ego will not rise in the body. Ahankara will not rise in the body. Aham means identifying yourself as me, aham. Identifying yourself with the body. So for that aham pratyaya, this is responsible. This Brahma Padartha. And it is a witness for all the 3 states. Avasthatraya Sakshi. Witness for all the 3 states. It is a witness in your waking state. When you are fully aware and woken up and do all your activities, still you go to sleep, morning to evening. So it is there as a witness to what you are doing. Even in the deep sleep, it is there as a witness what you are doing. Even in the dream state, when the mind is creating a dream body, dream sequence, it is there as a witness. So in all the states, 3 states, avasthatraya. Avasthatraya means Jagrata avastha, waking state, Swapnavastha, dream state, Sushupta avastha, deep sleep state. Avasthatraya, Sakshi, is a witness to all the states. And it's Panchakosha Vilakshana. It is beyond the 5 koshas. Acharya later takes up in detail what are the Panchakoshas. What earlier he told about the Puryashtaka, earlier, same thing he will explain in detail as a Panchakosha, the 5 layers around the Atma in the body. Else, later he takes up in detail, we'll go into the detail there. But here, just he says, this Atma, this something is Panchakosha Vilakshanaha. It is beyond the 5 koshas, 5 sheaths, the 5 sheaths in the body, starting from gross body. See, the gross body, the outermost layer, then the inner layer, then the inner layer, and then the inner layer. All the 5 layers cover the mask. Panchakoshas, 5 sheaths and layers. What are the 5 layers? As it will be dealt later in detail, the Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. 5 koshas, 5 layers. ಈ ಪಂಚಕೋಶಗಳಿಗೆ ವಿಭಿನ್ನವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಆತ್ಮಸ್ವರೂಪ. ಈ ದೇಹದಲ್ಲಿ 5 ಕೋಶಗಳು, 5 ಪದರಗಳಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ವಿಭಿನ್ನವಾಗಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಆತ್ಮಸ್ವರೂಪ ಇದೆ. 5 ಕೋಶಗಳು ಯಾವುದು? ಮುಂದೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಬಹಳ ವಿಶದವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ದೇಹ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಥೂಲ ಶರೀರ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು, ಮೂಳೆ, ಮಾಂಸ, ರಕ್ತದಿಂದ ತುಂಬಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಅಂಗಗಳಿಂದ ಇದು ಸ್ಥೂಲ ಶರೀರ. ಆ ನಂತರ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಬರೋ ಪದರ ಯಾವುದು? ಈ ಸ್ಥೂಲ ಶರೀರಕ್ಕೆ ಅನ್ನಮಯ ಕೋಶ. ಅದರ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಬರೋದು ಪ್ರಾಣಮಯ ಕೋಶ, ಪಂಚಪ್ರಾಣಗಳು. ನಂತರ ಬರೋದು ಯಾವುದು? ಮನೋಮಯ ಕೋಶ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬರೋದು ಯಾವುದು? ವಿಜ್ಞಾನಮಯ ಕೋಶ. ಕೊನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋದು ಯಾವುದು? ಆನಂದಮಯ ಕೋಶ. ಪಂಚಕೋಶಗಳು ಇವಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಅತೀತವಾಗಿ ವಿಭಿನ್ನನಾಗಿ ಆತ್ಮಸ್ವರೂಪ ದೇಹದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಪಂಚಕೋಶ ವಿಲಕ್ಷಣ, ಅವಸ್ಥಾತ್ರಯ ಸಾಕ್ಷಿ. So, this Atmaswarupa is a substratum for your identification of yourself with the body, ahankara, ego, mind-ego complex. The mind-body complex is due to the force of the ego or the I-ness. I am the body, I am so and so. So this Atma is the base. This is substratum from which the ego arises. Only in the presence here the ego arises. Ego, ahankara, has no reality. It is really unreal. It has no real individual status. It has to depend on the body itself. The ego cannot be outside the body. That is why in the dead body there is no ego. There is no ahankara. As long as the body is alive, the prana pakshis are there, when the pranas are there, controlling, and then all the other koshas are there, the layers are there. The ego works as long in the presence of Atma, in the presence of Atma Chaitanya, in the presence of Atma, Atmic consciousness. So that is what he says. So he further explains, Yo vijanati sakalam jagrat swapna sushuptishu buddhi tadvrutti sadbhavam abhavam ahamitya mityayam. Next he says, यो विजानाति सकलं जागृत स्वप्न सुषुप्तिषु बुद्धि तद्वृत्ति सद्भावम् अभावम् अहमित्ययम् अहमिति अयम्. What he says here, यो यह विजानाति सकलं जागृत स्वप्न सुषुप्तिषु. ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಯಾವ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ, ಯಾವ ಮಾನವ ಈ ಜಾಗೃತಾವಸ್ಥೆ, ಸ್ವಪ್ನಾವಸ್ಥೆ, ನಿದ್ರಾವಸ್ಥೆ ಇವುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು, ಅನುಭವಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನೂ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನಲ್ಲ, ಈ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನ ಭಾವನೆಗಳು, ಅದರ ಹುಟ್ಟುವಿಕೆ, ಈ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನ ಭಾವನೆಗಳು ಅದು ಇರೋದಾಗ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರೋದಾಗ್ಲಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನಲ್ಲ, ಮತ್ತು ಈ ದೇಹದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ನಾನು ನಾನು ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಧಾರವಾಗಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಅದೇ ಆತ್ಮ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಆತ್ಮನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು. ಯಹ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿನೂ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆತ್ಮ ಅಂತನೂ ಅರ್ಥ. ಸೊ ಆತ್ಮನ ಸ್ವರೂಪದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಯಾವುದು ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮೂರು ಅವಸ್ಥೆಗಳನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯೋ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆತ್ಮ ದೇಹದಲ್ಲಿ, ಮತ್ತು ಮನಸ್ಸಿನ ವೃತ್ತಿ, ಅವುಗಳ ಇರುವಿಕೆ, ಅವುಗಳ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರುವಿಕೆ, ಅಭಾವ, ಅದನ್ನ ಅರಿತುಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನ ಸಾಕ್ಷೀಭೂತವಾಗಿ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಮತ್ತು ಈ ನಾನು 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 ಅಂತ ಏನು ದೇಹ ಭಾವ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಕ್ಷೀಭೂತವಾಗಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಆತ್ಮ. ಬುದ್ಧಿ ತದ್ವೃತ್ತಿ ಸದ್ಭಾವಂ ಸದ್ಭಾವಂ ಅಭಾವಂ ಅಹಂ ಇತಿ ಅಯಂ. ಭಾವಂ ಅಭಾವಂ, ಬುದ್ಧಿ ತದ್ವೃತ್ತಿ ಭಾವಂ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಅಭಾವಂ, ಅಹಂ ಇತಿ ಇತಿ ಅಹಂ ಇತಿ ಅಯಂ, ಅಹಂ ಇತಿ ಅಯಂ, ಅಯಂ ಆತ್ಮ. ಅಯಂ means this is the atma. We have to remember like that what he says. So what in this shloka Acharya is talking, so that which says all the time as I, that which is all the time says I am, I am, I am, that which is responsible for the I-ness to project itself, that which is responsible for the I feeling to come out, and that which is also, it knows everything in the waking state, dream state, and deep sleep state, its actions, and the intellect or the buddhi, and its actions, mental attitudes, mental modifications, or inactions. So that is Atma. Yo vijanati sakalam jagrat swapna sushuptishu. Jagrat swapna sushuptishu. In all the three states we normally undergo in our lifetime every day. Every day, normally night time we go to sleep. Before the deep sleep sets in, there is a intermediary sleep pattern. And during that time, there is a possibility every day some dreams will appear in us. Most of us may not remember what dreams are there for a short duration. We don't recollect it when we wake up next day morning. Some we recollect it. So dreams are there for majority. Sometime later, there will be deep sleep without dream. So that is Sushupti. So in Sushupti, all the mental activities are at standstill. So Abhava, Buddhi Vritti Abhava, all your mental activities are they stand still, no activity. Your mind, thoughts are not there, thoughts are not generated. Your identity is lost, Abhava, Buddhi Vritti Abhava. That happens in Sushupti. And in dream sequence, your Swapna Sharira, your own mind creates so many new situations. You are aware of that. Once you come out of the dream, you remember, I had a dream just now like this. So you recollect that bhava, what is happening in the dream, what happened in the dream. But you also know that everything happened in the dream, it is not real. How do you know it? Only when you wake up. ಎಚ್ಚರ ಆದ ನಂತರ ನಾವೇನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ, ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಇದುವರೆಗೂ ಒಂದು ಕನಸು ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆಪ್ಪ, ಕನಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿದೆ ಅಂತ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗತ್ತೆ? ಇದುವರೆಗೂ ನಾನು ಕಂಡಿದ್ದ ಕನಸು ಅದು ನಿಜ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸತ್ಯ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅಸತ್ಯ, ಅನ್ರಿಯಲ್. ಅಂಡ್ ವೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್, ಜಾಗೃತ ಅವಸ್ಥೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಜ್ಞೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೈನಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಓಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ನಾನು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಎದ್ದಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಮಾತನಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಹೀಗೆ 3 ಅವಸ್ಥೆಗಳ ವಿಷಯವನ್ನ ಯಾರು ಅರಿತಾರೋ, ಯಾವುದು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಕ್ಷಿಯಾಗಿದೆಯೋ ಅದು ಆತ್ಮ. ಈ 3 ಅವಸ್ಥೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಥಿತನಾಗಿದ್ದು ಯಾವುದೇ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಸಾಕ್ಷಿ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಆತ್ಮಸ್ವರೂಪ. ಸೊ that something, that super consciousness, that Parama Chaitanya, it works, it is there as a witness in all the 3 states. In the waking state, it is a witness. You are aware of what you are doing. In the dream state, you are aware what you did in the dream once you come out of the dream. So the Atma Swarupa is there also. It is a witness. In the deep sleep, it is a witness again, Atma Swarupa. It is there. How? Because it is there, you go into the deep sleep, and after you come out of the deep sleep, you say, I slept so peacefully. You say, I had a wonderful sleep. But during deep sleep, I did not know anything, no experience. So there was ajnana, ignorance. To say that, there is a witness. To say that I did not know anything in the deep sleep, I was not aware of myself in the deep sleep. To say that, there is the presence. There should be somebody to say that. So that is how the Atma Swarupa remains as a witness in the deep sleep also. These things are there in detail later. Here, this is how we should remember. I remember our Gurudev was talking once here. Our Gurudev was talking, he was giving not on a single day, but on several days of continuous. And I am cut shorting that. When he was talking on Mandukya Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad mainly deals with the 3 states of our life every day. The main purport of the Mandukya Upanishad is the analysis of the 3 states. Mandukya Upanishad analyzes critically, aphoretically, spiritually, and from the paramarthic sense, it analyzes on waking state, dream state, and deep sleep state. While talking on Mandukya Upanishad, our Gurudev was telling me once, after summarizing the whole thing, of course, not on the single day, with cumulative number of days he was talking on that, and one fine day, he told me, look, very paradoxical statement, humorously he put it. However much the explanation on the 3 states is given to anybody normally, they will never understand the significance of the 3 states. They will never correlate and understand and discriminate the 3 states completely. That means they will never really understand all the 3 states, the interconnection correctly. Waking, dream, and deep sleep. Because this correct analysis flashes only at the time of jnana, he said, our Gurudev said. The correct understanding of the avasthatraya, vishleshana, he calls. Only it happens at the time of the dawn of realization. Not before that, correctly. Then he said, next sentence. The realization occurs only when the three states are completely understood, analyzed intellectually and spiritually. Realization, dawn of the jnana, occurs only after the three states have been completely contemplated, understood properly in the proper sense. So it is a paradoxical statement. First statement and the second statement, if you go together, both are diametrically opposite statements. So with humorous mode, he said, see, this is the paradox, he said. This is the paradox. It looks so simple, but it is so difficult to understand and analyze the three states, he said. That is what Mandukya Upanishad does. And only by the Guru's grace, this can be understood. So what he meant was, if you simply read the Upanishad, if you simply read a book and say that I have understood what is deep sleep, what is a dream state, what is waking state. No, it is not like that. So this is how he was talking on Mandukya Upanishad about the avasthatraya. Yo vijanate sakalam jagrat swapna sushuptisu. This is the point. Small, I'm digressing here for 1 or 2 minutes. A lot of people who have joined this listening to the discourse of Viveka Chudamani in the YouTube format at their convenience. So there was some request, repeated requests came. Those who joined late or those who don't know about our Gurudev, they were keen enough to know about our Gurudev. So for their sake, please bear with me 1 or 2 minutes. I'm digressing here from the topic. Our Gurudev was, a native of near Udupi in Karnataka state, a small village he coming from. So after the initial, his mother tongue is Kannada language itself. After initial education in the coastal region near Udupi, he came down to Mumbai for higher education. He did his BSc and MSc in physics in Mumbai at that time. Around 1958, he completed his MSc there in physics. Then he went to Rutgers University, New Jersey, to do PhD in physics. In 59, he left India. Please remember, his mother tongue was Kannada. He knew English very well. Of course, Hindi, and being in Maharashtra, Marathi also, and Gujarati also, these languages. But he never knew much of Sanskrit because he was not taught in those days, pre-independent days. He was not taught Sanskrit at all. So he went to New Jersey, Rutgers University in 1959. He completed the PhD in 1963 in polymer physics. After completion of the PhD, for some time, almost more than 8 months, he worked in the laboratory section, in the biochemical side in the Kings County Hospital, New York. And then later he joined as a scientist the prestigious IBM in New York. So as a scientist, he was there, and he was so intelligent in all his fields of electronics and physics and biophysics, biochemistry, whatnot. He has never dealt in detail. So he was there, and from 1963 onwards, up to 1971-72, he was there. And all of a sudden, that calling came from inside. So imagine, he resigned the post in IBM as a top-level scientist. He was in charge of the batch of the scientists at that time in IBM New York headquarters who were producing the third-generation computer in early 1960s. So he was one of the main scientists in that group. Imagine, Nowadays, most of us, we clamor to go to America or Europe to do our MS. It's so easy. And then settle down there with our jobs, because job opportunities are there once you do MS there. So every one of us now, it's very easy. You got money, you do the MS there, get into a job. Once we get a job there, we never come back. We never come back. Please accept my words. I was there for 1 year in the Waterloo University in Canada, doing my PhD in 81, and also teaching BSc students there. I know the cycle. So please bear with me. Nobody wants to come back once you start earning that. That is how the things happen. So imagine a person, topmost scientist. Can you imagine? Can you really imagine? Please imagine. A topmost scientist in IBM, hardly at the age of 29, 30, young, with exuberance, energetic mind. Can you imagine resigning from the IBM post, top level post, resigning completely and coming back to India, giving up everything? Once I asked him, Gurudev, what happened to all those certificates, your research papers, and those awards and everything, your passport, everything, and allied things? What happened to that? He said, after coming back, he simply said, after coming back to India, I offered everything to Yajneshwara. All the certificates, PhD certificate, degree certificate, etc., whatever, everything I offered to Yajneshwara. I just burnt it. Very coolly our Gurudev told. Can anybody think nowadays in the 2021? Imagine, poke your own consciousness. Can you do it? Imagine you are a 30-year-old person having a very good job in Europe or America or Australia or New Zealand. Can you all of a sudden resign and come back to India in search of a guru with a prestigious post in the hand? Can you? Can you? Question yourself, you will get the answer. That is a great personality. He remained always anonymous, never showed that he is a real Brahmajnani. Never even, nobody can have an inclination that he is a great Mahatma. So he came back in 71, 72 time in search of the Guru. Then after traveling, he ended up in Rishikesh, in the ashram of the famous, our Parameshti Guru, Swami Shivananda Saraswati, Divine Life Society ashram. Swami Shivananda Saraswati founded that ashram in Rishikesh, on the banks of the Ganga. So our Gurudev entered there and he met our Paramaguru, Swami Vidyananda Saraswati there, and he offered himself at his feet and became his disciple to lead him to this path of spirituality. Swami Vidyananda Saraswati, direct disciple of Swami Shivananda Saraswati. He remained all the time there in Rishikesh, in the Shivananda ashram. Our Gurudev became his disciple. And his sadhana started there in Rishikesh. So around, let me not go into the details, he became realized by the grace of the Guru, Sadguru, there in Rishikesh. Then our Gurudev became a mendicant, traveled all over India. And for our good fortune, he came to Bangalore ultimately in around 1990-1991 at that time. So up to 1997, he was in Bangalore, and I was fortunate to be at his lotus feet in the year 1995 itself. So my good fortune, I was associated with him. Rather, I would say he dragged me or called me intuitively, and I fell at his feet in the year 1995 in Bangalore. And it is my good fortune. And by all the krupa and the grace, he showered without asking. on 26th November 1997, he gave me Mantropadesha all by himself in Bengaluru. So this is a brief sketch of our Gurudev. A Brahmajnani incognito, we say. A Brahmajnani, a Paramahamsa, without giving any iota to anybody about his highest materialistic worldly qualification, nor about his spiritual nature to anybody. He looked very ordinary sannyasi. He became a sannyasi after realization. That is a rare thing. A realized person can live in any way he wants because he is unconnected, not associated with the world at all. But he took that rare sannyasatva, as it is called. It's called Vidvat Sannyasa. He remained just like an ordinary person, not even showing to anyone that he is a rare Brahmajnani. He was devoid of anything. There was no telephone, there was no paper, nothing of the sort in this kutiram. Anybody can come and sit with him and talk and go away. He used to tell me, I am here to give out jnanam to the deserving person. That is all I can do. I want nothing. I have everything by my Gurudev. So he used to say like that. So this is a brief sketch about our Gurudev, which is elaborated in his own autobiography. Sometimes we know reading a book is not possible. So if I say something, it will enter your mind. That is the point. So excuse me for digressing. So our Gurudev used to say, the three states cannot be properly understood until jnana is attained. The jnana cannot be attained until the three states are not properly understood. See the paradox. See the paradox. I repeat what he said. Avasthatraya, Jagrat Swapna, Sushuptishu. Yo vijanati sakalam Jagrat Swapna, Sushuptishu. Buddhi tadvrutti sadbhavam abhavam aham iti ayam. I remembered that. So he said it's very simple. If you know the correct perception, if you perceive what is Jagrat, what is Swapna, Avastha, what is Sushupti, deep sleep. If you understand this correctly, this happens at the time of jnana. So without the jnana, you will not understand this. And jnana cannot be attained without understanding this. Look at the paradox. I leave this point for you to contemplate today. I leave this point to yourself. Why our Gurudev told me like that. So I remembered that. So this shloka says that Yo vijanati sakalam Jagrat Swapna Sushuptishu Buddhi tadvrutti sadbhavam abhavam aham mityayam. I leave it here with Guru Sankalpa, with a short bhajan. I am closing today. Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. 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 Sri Rama Jaya 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 Rama. Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. Hari Om Tat. Om Namo Bhagavate Virahaya.